You're listening to a BGE podcast.
Friends and family gather round and fire up the barbecue. Let the smoke waft and float, that's what we're gonna do. You can't deny there's nothing like friends and family and food. Don't sit still, pull out your grill, we're gonna have a barbecue. And barbecue, it keeps us together.
Hey folks, it's Friday and it is Memorial Day weekend. Hope folks are geared up and ready for some wonderful barbecue grilling. I'm going to be talking about a blind moment I had and a new product I am really stoked about.
Fire up the barbecue.
Welcome back to another episode of the Blind Grilling Experience. My name is Chris Peltz. I am the most interesting griller in the world. Folks, we are so excited about this weekend and some past cooks that we've done, some upcoming cooks we're gonna be doing. And I just hope you guys are having a great time, had a great week, and hopefully all your plans go well and don't get rained out over in the east or down in Florida, wherever it is you might be listening to. And you're able to enjoy a beautiful weekend, this holiday weekend, Memorial Day weekend. You know, if you're out visiting, maybe you're laying some flowers on some tombstones or visiting some lost loved ones, resting places. And I know a lot of folks are going to be out and doing that. A lot of folks are taking advantage of the long weekend, and they're going to do a lot of traveling. Just be safe out there. Enjoy some great barbecue. Make some wonderful memories. But just remember, first and foremost, the blessings we have from God and the opportunities we have to be together. First of all, during the times that we are in, I got to tell you, I've had a few cooks this past week, and definitely had some blind moments. And I'm gonna tell you about one of them particularly while I go through a cook that I did, because the cook turned out amazing. It was really good, and it's something that I've done in times past, but it's been a really, really long time. And so I thought, you know what, I've been trying to be careful, watch what I eat a little bit more. I've been doing a little bit of keto stuff, so trying to cut out the sugars and carbs for as much as I can, and it's been working. That's been going pretty well. Well, we had some bell peppers in the fridge, and I decided, you know what, I'm going to pick up some burger, and I'm going to make some stuffed peppers and throw them on the grill, and that would be awesome. And while we were at the store, the meat market that we go to here in Springfield, they have what they call their Boston burger, and all it is a mixture of ground beef and ground pork that they put together, probably close to a 50-50 mix. I'm not exactly sure what their mix is percentage-wise, but it's beef and pork together. And I thought, ooh, that would even be, even better, make it more interesting. So I'm going to do that. So I got that together, and because I'm doing keto, no carbs, normally I would use a little bit of cracker and an egg and my seasonings. But I wasn't going to use the cracker. So I took that about a half pound of meat, added one egg, and got it all mixed in together and incorporated well together. Added my seasoning, just one of my favorite beef steak kind of seasonings. So you can do your favorite. I cut the tops off of the bell peppers, got the core and all the seeds out, hollowed it completely out. And that half pound was enough to fill 2 bell peppers. I had a red and a yellow, I think, or maybe an orange, but 2 colored peppers there, either red and orange, yellow and red, something like that. So I got them stuffed, and I took a can of tomato paste and slathered some of that on the top along with, mix some seasoning in with it. And I took it out into the grill, and I had the big green egg set at 350 degrees indirect, and it took close to an hour because I wanted to make sure that meat got done. You got to remember now, we're not talking about just hamburger. We got pork in there as well. So I set it up and programmed the thermometer to let me know when it was hitting about 150 degrees internal temp. And when they were done, I took some pictures because I wanted to post the pictures on Instagram. So I set them on a plate next to the grill and took some pictures, and then I brought them inside. I sliced one in half and laid it open and took another picture. And of course, it was so juicy, right? All that juice ran out all over the plate. And my wife said that picture looked terrible, but I posted it anyway. But here's where the blind moment comes in, because I went through all of this. I did this cook, right? I mean, I ran water over those peppers and, rinsed them off and did all that I thought I needed to do, and get them on the plate after they were cooked, set them on the paper plate, and then I, snap a picture, and I sent them to my wife, and I asked my wife, it's like, hey, of course I'm eating now, right? I'm digging into it, and I'm going ahead and sending her a text saying, hey, check these pictures and make sure they're good enough to post. And that's when she responded, and that she'd check them, and she ended up calling me. She's like, well, the one on the plate looks terrible because it's, all the juices is around it. It looks bad. So who cares? That's the results of the cook. The food was awesome. I wanted to share that. She said, but the ones next to the grill, they looked really good except for one thing. You still had a sticker on the outside of one of those bell peppers. I was like, you have got to be kidding me. There was a sticker from the store still on the outside of that bell pepper. I didn't feel it when I was washing it and rubbing on it, and just, I had no idea. Absolutely no idea. And it just happened that when I'm taking a picture, I've got it turned so that sticker is right there on the bell pepper. And I've already cut them. I've already started eating. I got one gone and the other sliced and ready to get into. And I can't reproduce the picture right now. And I didn't want to not post something. So I was like, all right. So I just posted on Instagram and I think it went to the Facebook, Blind Grilling Instagram and Facebook. And it just said, hey, blind moment. So there it is. There it is. There's a sticker, it didn't affect the flavor apparently, because when she was telling me this, I've already devoured one of them, and I who knows if it was the one with the sticker or not. I didn't look at the other one yet, so I stuck it in the fridge and was gonna save it for tomorrow. Oh man, isn't it great, the things that we can get away with, that we can miss when we can't see. Oh, wow. All right. Well, that's my blind moment. That's also my recipe. And I think you guys would like it, especially with that ground beef and ground pork together, with a nice rub mixed in there together, and an egg, to kind of hold it almost like a meatloaf base as you're putting that all together and stuffing it inside those bell peppers. Man, they turned out so good. And I'll tell you how I kept track of the temp in just a second. KickashBasket.com. For all your grilling accessory needs, charcoal management, keep that air flowing, that fire going, and make your cleanup easier with the Kick-Ash basket and the Kick-Ash can. Whether you've got a ceramic grill like the Big Green Egg that I'm using my basket and can in, or you've got some other ceramic grill. They've got a basket and can for you, as well as some of the Webers and the Kettles and several other grills, the PKs and the PK 360s. They've got kick-ass baskets for your grill, more than likely, and it makes not only managing the fire so much easier, but it makes cleanup a breeze. Light that fire, shake that ash, and get to grilling with kickashbasket.com. Well, folks, I've been asked several times, and over the past, I would say month, but especially the past 2 weeks, I've received several emails asking me about thermometers. And everyone knows, we talk about the Flame Boss, and that's all well and good. Flame Boss is awesome. I use the Flame Boss on the cook that I'm talking about, but I use something else as well. And that's the Meter Plus. I've gotten a lot of questions about it, and even up until the beginning of last week, my responses was, I've never used one. I don't know. I understand that they aren't, or they can be accessible, but you have to have some sighted assistance to get it turned on. But I didn't have any experience with it. Well, that's changed. Both my answer would change with a little caveat, and the fact that I have now used one more than once. I was at the grilling store, hanging out, visiting, talking to customers, the owner, my wife who works over there. And I decided, you know what? I keep getting all these questions about different probes, different thermometers, and particularly the meter. And I thought, you know what? I'm just going to buy one. I'm just going to break down and I'm going to buy a Meter Plus. So that's what I did. I bought a Meter Plus. And I will say this. Usually everyone says, listen, the first time you use it, you're going to work out some bugs, some kinks. You're going to get used to it. So don't let that be your final judgment on the product necessarily. And it's a good thing that I didn't, because first of all, I messed up on one aspect of the first time I used it. I grilled some chicken breast, and I used the Meter Plus in chicken breast, got it out on the grill, and I got the app set up. All of that was accepted. There on the Meter Plus, there's no buttons that you have to push. When you get it, you download the app, you open it up. The app walks you through every aspect of this, from removing the little tab to allow the battery, because it takes a AAA battery and a little compartment on the underside, to removing that tab so it can start charging, let the probe charge on its charger for 2 hours. And it's a little wood block charger that's really cool, really sleek. If everything feels nice, everything feels great. And the app walks you through doing this, right? And once you've let it charge, it says for 2 hours, then you can start, getting it set up on the app. And the app, again, walks you through everything. It's accessible. I had no sighted assistance getting this set up. And what's really cool about the Meter Plus is when you pull it out of the charger, it automatically turns on. And when you put it back in the charger, it turns off. And when you pull it out and it turns on, it connects. Once you get the app set up, it connects to your phone via Bluetooth, and put it back in the charger and it turns off, disconnects. All well and good. You can set up your cooks. And the Meter Plus is awesome because you've got it's like a pencil or a pen, about that size of just a writing pencil, a writing pen. That sighted folks use, or we would use to sign our name for our signature, right? I mean, just you'd hold in your hand. It's that size, and that's it. And on one end, which the pointy end, right, is the meat probe, and there's a little bit of a groove at a certain distance up that it says to slide it into the meat up to that point. And at the other end, which is kind of a squared off end, that is an ambient probe. So not only is it reading the temperature of the meat, it's reading the temperature of the air around and inside your grill, your cooking chamber, or your pit, whatever you want to, it's measuring that temp and giving you that information on the app. And setup was a breeze. It was awesome and so easy to do. I loved it. Stuck it in the chicken and was watching it. It was working. That was great. And it even pays attention not only to the ambient temp, but the temp of the meat. And you can set your cook. You can tell it what kind of meat you're cooking. It gives certain temperatures that you should, target temps you should shoot for, but you can adjust what temp you want to get it to, and it'll send you notifications. And there's all kinds of nuances I can get into later. But here's where I messed up. I set it up inside. I was inside in the kitchen. Took it off its charging block, got it all connected on the phone. I went out to the grill, stuck it in the meat. It was connected to the phone. I come back inside just a few feet and double checked. Everything was good. And I walked into the living room, which was not very far, by the way. Definitely less than 30 feet. And less than 30 feet from the grill. Now, granted, it's in a ceramic grill, and, you've got a door and around a corner, so there's a wall. And, so there's things, right, that can disrupt signals, but it dropped the signal. And I was extremely disappointed. Right? I mean, this was the same problem I was having with the Bluetooth dome thermometer by Big Green Egg, right? It's an awesome concept. That's great, but as soon as I walk away from it, it's disconnecting. And the terrible thing about the Big Green Egg is the app doesn't tell you when you've disconnected. And so you have no idea. You open up that app and, it tells you, it gives you a reading of the dome temp, but that may be, from 5-10 minutes ago, and it's shot way up, but because you're disconnected, you don't know because it doesn't tell you you're disconnected. So that's something Big Green Egg has to work on. Well, the Meter app, and let me just tell you, Meter, Meater. All right, that's the probe that we're talking about, Meter, Meater, and this is the Meter Plus. Well, it dropped, but it told me it dropped, so I knew it. So I was able to walk back towards the back door, the deck door, and it reconnected. So that worked great. And I walked into the house a little bit, and I stopped, and it was still connected. And I moved the phone forward about a foot from where I was standing, which I would say it was direct line of sight of the grill, just through a glass door at maybe 16 to 18 feet. And I held the phone away from me about a foot, and it disconnected. I brought it back to me, and it would reconnect. So I figured out the exact distance there that it was connecting and disconnecting, and it was terrible. Absolutely terrible. Well, I wasn't going to give up on it just yet, because there's certain features that are kind of neat that are still usable with this thing. And so a video popped up on YouTube that talked about using the Meter with a certain cut of meat or a steak or something. So it was a short video, so I went ahead and played it. And I'm listening, and while the guy's, going through and he's putting his steak on his grill and he's putting the Meter Plus probe into the meat, he says, and make sure you put the charger close to the grill so it can help amplify the signal. I thought, what? What is that all about? I didn't know that. I wasn't familiar with that because I left my little charger in the kitchen, right? Away from the grill. So when I did the stuffed bell peppers, I took that probe out there with the charger. I put the charger right next to the grill on my table and put the probe into the center of that meat stuffed, bell pepper, and I walked inside, and it stayed connected. I walked throughout the house. It stayed connected. And this was what the interesting thing as well. When I connected the probe to the app this time, and I didn't notice it the first time, but this time it actually said, make sure to place your charger close to the grill to help amplify the signal. So the app actually told me to do it. Either now, it may have done that the first time and I just missed it with all the setup and everything else I was going through. I may have just missed that or didn't realize what was being said or talked about. But I got it, right? I set it next to the grill and I started walking around and I didn't drop the signal. And for a Bluetooth signal, that was really good, right? I mean, my gripe isn't as much with the Big Green Egg Dome thermometer that it drops the way it does. It's that there's no indication that you've lost signal. That's something they can fix in the app. They can fix that if they're willing to, and with an update. But as of right now, it's not done, right? Well, the meter was telling you when it drops. Well, it wasn't dropping, and I've checked it again, and it's not dropping. This is cool. This is really cool. This Meter Plus, I'm liking it. I'm liking it a lot. Now, I mentioned there was some other features that were pretty cool with it, and Meter has a few options. The main options that I would talk about would be the Meter Plus and the Meter Block. All right, so let's stick with the Meter Plus for just a minute. Because that Meter Plus, right, with it working properly, not dropping any signal, because I've done it correctly this time per the instructions. I have not only been able to monitor the temperature of the food, but it also is telling me the temperature of the ambient temp, what the temp is there in the egg itself, which is awesome. There's no wires here, by the way, no wires at all. And it registers, first of all, the type of meat that you put in. You set up the cook. What kind of meat are you cooking? Whether it's poultry, chicken, turkey, whether it's beef and certain types of steak or brisket, whether it's pork, a pork loin, Boston butt, pork butt, or it goes through and gives you all these options. You select it, and then it gives you certain recommended ranges of temperature for certain donenesses. And you can select one, but then you can also change that. You're not locked into that particular temp. And what's really nice for steak, for example, let's say you want, certain temperature on your steak. You're going for 128 degrees internal temp, and that's what you set it to. It, based upon the ambient temp, the target temp, and after a few minutes of cooking, how it's going up, it basically formulates a time frame of what you can expect before you hit your target temp. How many more minutes or hours or whatever before you hit your target temp. Along with that, it also tells you, it suggests, I would say, let's say if you're looking for 128 internal, that's the temp you're going for. It would tell you, all right, you're about to hit that and say 5 minutes, give you a 5-minute warning approximately. But then at a temp just prior to that, a few degrees less, it tells you, all right, pull it off and time for the rest, right? Because there's usually during the rest, the temperature continues to rise as much as 5 degrees at times. And so the app is telling you, all right, it's time to pull it off to let it rest, and it would, expecting it to then come up to that target temp that you're looking for. So all of that is done on the app, which is awesome. So it's telling you the ambient temp, it's telling you the meat temp. Now there's no control. It's not controlling the fire like the Flame Boss. There's no fan, but again, no wires or anything like that. But I was keeping track of my temp with my Flame Boss and with the Meter Plus probe. And you got to keep in mind my Flame Boss pit probe is up in the dome a little bit higher. So there is expected variance in temperature. And some would say as much as 15 to 20 degrees. And I was right in that range, about 15 degrees, I would say, of difference between up in the dome where my pit probe was for the Flame Boss and what the ambient probe on the Meter Plus was reading, in the meat down on the grate. So that was, what I expected. And so that was great. That was extremely accurate. The charging box is cool too, because it has a magnet on the back side, where the battery compartment is. There's also a magnet. So if you have something around metal, you can just slap it right onto that and it'll magnet right to it and stick to it. It says not to place it directly on the grill on the hot surface. But if you got something out there close to the grill, it'll just magnetize right to it, which is awesome. And that was just, I was impressed. I must say I was impressed. The quality of the probe, the way it feels, just the nice wood charging block that was all cool. Really, really cool. Now the block, listen, I bought that on my own. I haven't, none of this is given to me. I haven't been contacted by Meter, which is owned by Traeger, by the way. And so if Meter or Traeger would like to be a sponsor, I would welcome them. And that would be awesome, because I'm liking their product, no doubt about it. Here's where we're going to run into a problem, however, and that is with the Meter block. Now, the Meter block is a really cool concept because it has built-in Wi-Fi, according to the website. And by the way, they're running a Memorial Day weekend special where you're basically going to save $200 off the Meter block, and they're going to throw $100 off the Meter block from their website, and they're throwing in a buy one get one, a Meter Plus probe in addition to the block. Now the Meter Plus retails for $100, $99. The block is retailing between $350 to $400, and the block comes with 4 probes to begin with. All right, so the block comes with 4 probes that are just like the Meter Plus. So you've got those ambient or the meat probes. The block is just a little bit larger charging wood block that holds those 4 probes, but it has a touch screen. Now I know we had a guest on, Mike Calvo, who I think he was talking about the Meter, and I don't guess I realized he was talking about the block, but because he was talking about a button. And I'd have to go back and see if it was specifically on the podcast or during our conversation, before or after. But he was talking about a button that you can't find if you're blind or visually impaired. Either you have to guess at it, or you have to have someone sighted to be able to turn that on or turn that off, or find where that button is exactly. And which is really too bad, because you have to be able to find that button to work the Meter block. Yes, you get 4 probes, and in this weekend on their website, you get an additional Meter Plus probe as well. But the Meter block, has Wi-Fi. But if the Meter block is turned on, it will not charge the probes. When it's turned off, it will charge the probes that are in there. Again, Wi-Fi, not just Bluetooth. There's a lot of great capabilities that the block has. But as of right now, there's no physical buttons. There's a touch screen that you have to know where to touch on that screen in order to turn things on, turn them off, or do any other kind of things in order to get them to work, right? In order to get them to even work with the app. So it's not just a matter of, connecting the block to the app. You have to be able to turn the block on and off. And so right now that's a problem. But with the app, you can definitely connect more than one Meter Plus. The great thing about the block, is that basically you're saving money, $50 or more, by not having to buy 4 individual Meter Plus probes, right? This comes with 4 probes, except for this weekend when you get the extra probe as well. But the, but if you can't turn it on or off, it does you no good. So right now, the Meter Plus is awesome. It is. I'm very impressed with it. The quality of the build, the way that it is working, and the few cooks that I have done, and the fact that it was completely accessible, absolutely accessible. I was able to walk through the app. The one thing as you're going through and using it, it wants you to. I kind of watch a couple of videos that I didn't have any sound on the video. They're really short, and there's a little countdown timer that my voiceover was reading. And once it got through 100%, it would start over. But once it got through it the first time, you were able to, hit continue. But while that video did me no good, I'm pretty sure the text that you read while that video was playing, that your voiceover would read, is all that's in the video. So again, you might be like, what's going on? Why can't I go past this? Well, wait for that little counter to click up to 100%. And then when it starts, it may start over, but that's no big deal. It'll then ungray out the, continue button or accept button, whatever it is. And so again, I was able to get it set up. I'm able to use it all around without any sighted assistance. That's the Meter Plus, MEATER Plus meat probe. No wires. You can use it in your oven, not just your grill. I'm sure I'll get questions about that. Yes, you can use it in an oven. So this isn't just for out in the grill cooking, right? You want to keep track of something in your oven. You want to keep track of the temperature of your food in your oven. You can do that with this probe. Stick it in your food, whether it's a potato, you want to bring it up for the perfect temp for just the right baked potato, at 210 degrees, or you want to make sure that not only is your food being cooked, but it would also let you know kind of the temperature of your oven. You may have set it to 350 degrees, but that probe inside, that ambient probe, is saying that your stove, or your oven rather, is only running at 325, 330, or maybe it's running hot, 375, 380, and you'll kind of know where your oven is running, and you can adjust the temp and use that ambient probe from that Meter Plus and your phone. And use it that way. So you can use it inside. Absolutely. You can use it inside in your oven and do cooks that way. And so again, I'm really impressed. So hopefully I'll continue to be, and it'll continue to work great, and it'll hold up. I think it will, just from the feel of it, the quality of it. And so if you got any questions about that, shoot me an email, blindgrilling@gmail.com. That's our email address. And I tell you, I appreciate so much all the feedback, all the response that we've gotten. We've got some new eggheads out there. I want to give a shout out to Jonna up in Pittsburgh, who has her new big green egg. She's fired it up for the first time this week. And so her first cooked Delmonico steak, she said, was a success. Congratulations to you on your egg, on your first cook. That is so awesome. And of course, so many other folks have contacted us. Joey down in Florida as well. He's one who also was asking about the meter, and I had responded, kind of hesitant at the time. But I'm going to let him know about today's podcast and some, the change of mind that I may have had on the Meter Plus meat probe. But there's been others who's asked me questions about that as well. Jeremy up in the Dakotas, North Dakota, he's asked questions about it. And again, like I said, I've gotten lots of emails over the past few weeks asking me about various meat probes, talking meat thermometers, wireless meat probes and meat thermometers. I mean, Flame Boss, I know works. The talking ThermalWorks instant read thermometer, I know it works. Ryzen, I think, has a talking thermometer, instant read thermometer as well. And there are others that are out there. But, I haven't had a lot of experience, with many that are accessible for the blind or visually impaired. But I finally bit the bullet on this Meter Plus, and I'm glad I did. And it's definitely one that I think I would recommend. I would definitely recommend folks check it out. And see what you think. And let me know. Let me know if you do. Let me know what you think. blindgrilling@gmail.com is the email address. And hey, try that recipe for those stuffed bell peppers. I'm telling you, that is so good. And, if you don't want pork, you can just do the beef. That's fine. But, man, you just do like a meatloaf kind of recipe and then just divide that up, put that into your hollowed out bell peppers, and they'll stand up right on the grill and just, put a probe in them and bring that meat temp up to, a good done temp of 150 degrees internal temp for that ground meat. And you will not be sorry. It is just spectacular. Awesome. Just awesome. Just good eats all around.
Friends and family gather.
All right, folks, thanks for listening and tuning in to another episode of the Blind Grilling Experience. We got some more news coming up here in the next few weeks, some more guests that we're going to be talking to. I'm excited to let folks know about some upcoming things, so stay tuned. We got more opportunities to spread the word on Blind Grilling Experience and for other listeners as well. Until next time, remember, folks, if you're looking, you ain't cooking.
Fire is burning, the world keeps turning. Don't worry what you gotta do. 'Cause if you're looking, you ain't cooking. Fire up the barbecue. Fire up the barbecue.